Boston Marathon, I decided to treat myself to a new pair of racing shoes. This is the Adidas AdiZero Sub2. It's a brand new shoe. It's a very lightweight shoe. As the name suggests, it's designed for their effort to break the 2-hour barrier in the marathon. I'll never get anywhere near that, but I figured if it's good enough for those kind of athletes, it's good enough for me. I used this shoe on a training run for the first time today, and just kind of wanted to do a first impressions video. The first most striking thing about the shoe is it's a very, very light shoe. It comes in at 5.6 ounces in a size 9. I wear a size 11, so probably still about 6 ounces-ish maybe. I haven't weighed it, but it's a very, very, very light shoe. It feels very light on the foot as well as in your hand. Being that it's that light, I'm not sure if this will show up on the video or not, but it's essentially almost see-through. Like you can almost see from one side of the shoe all the way through to the camera. It's probably the most breathable shoe I think I've ever run in. I can't think of another shoe that's actually, you know, literally nearly transparent. So that's definitely something to consider for, you know, if you were in snowy or sloppy conditions, rainy conditions, the elements are going to get into this shoe for sure. So that's one thing I think I would consider. It's also just generally a very minimal shoe. The upper is pretty flexible, as you can hopefully tell. There is actually quite a bit of heel support. I was surprised at that. There is quite a bit of heel support and stability there. But yeah, it feels like a very minimal shoe as you're running. I ran in it and I almost felt like I was barefoot. Like it's hardly noticeable at all. As you might also guess from that lightweight aspect, there's not a whole lot of shoe there. So it's a pretty relatively narrow shoe, as you can hopefully tell here. For me, I have pretty not very wide feet, so I didn't notice any problem on my first run. I did 8 miles and then I did 8 by 100 meter repeats, so kind of both ends of the spectrum there. I did some sprinting in it and I did some, you know, an aerobic run essentially. I didn't feel any hot spots or anything like that, no rubbing. It felt just about perfect. I ordered these in a size 11. I normally order a size 11. I had plenty of toe room and everything like that. They are pretty much true to size, as Adidas usually is. The sole of the shoe is largely this foam that feels very responsive. You can definitely get a feel for the ground in this shoe. It's not super cushy. It's pretty responsive, pretty firm. It's not a super flexible shoe. Hopefully that comes through. It's got a little bit more flex in this direction than it does side to side for sure. It didn't feel like, in comparison to my Hoka Tracers, which is my other marathon long distance running shoe, it felt more flexible than those. Those feel like I almost have a brick on my foot underneath them. They just feel super rigid. And this definitely has a little more flexibility to them. But they do feel very minimal. They feel like you're almost barefoot running. They really do. They also feel, they only got like a 5 or 6 millimeter drop, but they have a weird feeling of almost making you feel like you're running downhill. Like the sole is continental, as a lot of Adidas's are, maybe they all are, and it's got this kind of interesting waffle pattern, so I'm kind of interested to see how that works out. That's probably a way they saved some weight as well, having these cutouts, this cutout pattern here on the sole, so that'll be interesting. It's a racing shoe, so I doubt they're going to be super durable. I noticed already up in the toes, just after one run, that there's already a pretty decent wear up there in the toes. Nothing terrible, but it'll be interesting to see how well these hold up. I've run in another Adidas, the Supernova Glide Boost, which lasted forever for me. I think I have like 1,200 miles or something ridiculous on those shoes. I still haven't thrown them out. Haven't run in them in a while, but those are super durable. And so I'm kind of curious to see how these look after some more runs, if the sole will hold up. As you can tell, the rubber layer is really, really thin. A fellow runner A guy I used to work with actually asked me to let him know how these shoes work out because he was interested in buying them. The insole is this Boost Endless Energy insole, which is actually pretty cushy. It's pretty substantial insole. That helps provide a little bit more cushioning. It's not a super cushy shoe. It doesn't feel like, for example, the Hokanopoly that I just ran in. That was like super cushy. You could feel, it felt like you were a springing sensation. These are definitely a more responsive foam. So I'm very interested to see actually how these compare to the Hoka that I've run most of my marathons in, because I've kind of trusted those and done well in those. So I'm anxious to see how this plays out, if these end up performing better or worse. They're a lighter shoe, so hopefully that'll pay off. Yeah, I'm gonna run in these tomorrow again. I have my last long run of 13 miles tomorrow, so we'll see how they hold up there. And I'll wear this for my dress rehearsal, maybe another run or two next week, just to make sure they're nice and broken in. But the first run felt fine. I don't really anticipate having any problems. I might still bring my Hokas just in case I chicken out the last second and want to run in something familiar, but they're getting pretty worn out. Pretty strongly feeling like I'm going to run in these. So I think that's about all I have to say for my first impressions. If I have anything major to report later, I'll come back and do another review on them, but just wanted to kind of get that out there as early feedback on this shoe. In general, like I said, it's a very minimal. It feels just like almost that perfect minimal fast shoe. Very extremely light, and yet it's going to hold up for a marathon. So it's almost to the point where these could be even a 5K racing flat. It's as light as they are. So yeah, early reports, early indications are that I think this is going to be a good racing shoe. I'll report back. I'll do my Boston Marathon recap and let you know how that went. And then as I probably won't wear these shoes to train in very much. So maybe after a marathon or two or half marathon, I'll report back if I have anything significantly different to say. If they really don't hold up in durability or something like that, I'll report back. But that's about all I have to say on these. I'll be back after the Boston Marathon, so thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you like the content, and I'll be back soon.